Now on 18 News.
Good morning. The ceremonies and memorials continue honoring the thousands who perished in the September 11th attacks, how those we lost are being remembered. And 4 local first responders recognized and awarded at the Tri-County First Responders Honors Park yesterday. We take you there. Plus, New York Governor Kathy Hochul signing 3 pieces of legislation to help first responders in the World Trade Center rescue, recovery, and cleanup. This is 18 News Today.
Live from your local news leader, this is 18 News Today.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sarah Wilson. Today is Sunday, September 12th.
And I'm Jacob Matthews. Thanks for joining us for 18 News Today.
Those stories and much more coming up in just a few minutes. But first, Jacob has your Sunday forecast.
Yeah, so not much to talk about right now. There's currently no fog like we had yesterday, but temperatures are sitting around in the 60s. Current temperature is 58 right now under some calm winds. A few isolated showers happening around in the Twin Tiers, but these isolated showers, the rainfall around here will eventually dissipate later. So nothing too severe going on right now. Current temperatures sitting around in the regions are around in the high 50s. Some are even jumping up into the 60s. As for this afternoon, however, we can start to see temperatures rise up to the 80s the first time in a while, with some broken clouds mostly for today and a few showers happening in the middle of the afternoon.
New Yorkers marked the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks with the twin beams of light. They represent those 2 towers that once stood. The beams of light were first shown 6 months after the attack and have been shown every year since. They can be seen from several parts of the city. A giant American flag also hung over the George Washington Bridge yesterday. Closer to home, tributes and ceremonies as well as memorials taking place all throughout the southern tier as we continue to remember the 20th anniversary of 9/11. In Corning, the Daughters of the American Revolution took part in a lining ceremony on the Corning Bridge to honor those all impacted by the attacks. Members flew their flags all throughout yesterday morning until 10:03 to commemorate the time the last plane flew into the tower. Trucks and cars also honked their horns as they drove past.
All morning long. Those people that lost their lives that day in New York City, in Washington, and in Pennsylvania, they lost their lives, and we can never forget them. I'm proud to be an American because of that. I really am, especially today.
Flag lines like this happened all around the area as part of a region-wide effort led by the Finger Lakes Veteran Association. Elmira College students also gathering at the Puddle for a 9/11 candlelit vigil. Dr. Chuck Lindsay shared his memories with the group, followed by a moment of silence. And at the Tri-County First Responders Honor Park yesterday, 4 local first responders were recognized and awarded for their service. Our 18 News reporter Ria Jha was there at the annual Honor to Remembrance ceremony. She explains the importance behind it, especially in relation to 9/11.
God bless America, my own sweet home. God bless America, my own sweet home.
It is a cloudless day here in Painted Post, much like it was on 9/11 20 years ago.
This blue sky reminds us that on 9/11, our country was brought to her knees.
Over 100 people from Chemung, Steuben, and Schuyler County showed up to the Tri-County First Responders ceremony to honor and remember their uniformed services.
9/11 marks the day when the first responders really stepped up and made the ultimate sacrifice. And since so many of them gave that on 9/11, that's the day that we've chosen to forever honor first responders.
Speakers became emotional when presenting the awards, recalling the turbulence experienced throughout the pandemic over the past year and a half.
Typical of first responders, Matthew was always first in and last out. But he never showed up and he never slowed down.
The park revealed its new statue honoring first responders.
The statue Barbie has created, she has friends that died in 9/11, and this was a work from the heart for her.
Reporting in Gang Mills, Ria Jha, 18 News.
And also honoring first responders, New York Governor Kathy Hochul. She signed 3 pieces of legislation to help first responders in the World Trade Center rescue, recovery, and cleanup efforts. The governor made that announcement at the event to recognize the New York National Guard for their service on that day. The laws, they make it easier for first responders to apply for benefits by expanding eligibility criteria. They also allow for online submissions to notify members part of a retirement system that they were involved in the operations.
So we signed these bills to try and alleviate some of the burdens that are in place that make it more difficult for people to get the benefits that they deserve. They truly do deserve these. And I will simply say this. I will continue to have your backs because you have ours every single day.
The governor says these laws are there for people who worked on 9/11 and for those who continue to work to keep us safe. Right now, over 100,000 New Yorkers are still eligible for 9/11 health and financial benefits. This is separate than what Governor Hochul announced. The VDC and the World Trade Center Health Program are actively providing benefits to those who responded to those attacks. But the programs are also open to anyone who lived, worked, or studied in the exposure area in Lower Manhattan. In the years since the attacks, 80% of Ground Zero responders have registered for the program. It's now 7:07, still ahead on 18 News today. Evacuation flights from Afghanistan resuming for Westerners, but thousands of at-risk Afghans are still stranded in their homeland. We have details from the ground.
And humid conditions will soon make a return as we head into next week. The muggy meter shows that the most humid days may start this Tuesday morning. More details coming up on 18 News.
You're watching 18 News Today.
Welcome back. The U.S. Capitol Police announced their internal investigation related to the attack on January 6th is complete. They are recommending that 6 officers receive disciplinary for their actions during the attack. The internal investigation took place after a criminal investigation finished by the Department of Justice with no charges filed. The names of the officers have been withheld as part of the department policy. We know that at least one case is for failure to comply with directives. Another is for improper remarks, and another is for improper circulation of information. There is a 7th case, but that is still pending and has not yet been decided. In Florida, police have foiled a shooting plot at a middle school in Lehi Acres. Teachers there at Harns Marsh Middle School received a tip that a student had a gun on Thursday. No weapon was found in the student's bag. However, police did find a map of the school with every security camera on it circled. Their investigation led officials to search the home of a 13 and 14-year-old student, where they did find guns, ammo, and knives. Police say the 2 boys had done research on the Columbine shooting in Colorado, as well as how to build pipe bombs. Both boys are now facing a charge of conspiracy to commit a mass shooting. And turning out west, where firefighters in Southern California are battling yet another brush fire. The fire is relatively small, fortunately, just over 3 acres, but it did jump a highway yesterday, forcing it to shut down. Airplanes are now flying overhead, dropping retardant on the flames. There is still no word yet on how this fire started. Evacuation flights from Afghanistan have resumed for Westerners, with the 2nd flight taking off on Friday. Still, thousands of at-risk Afghans are stranded in their homeland. Some are rushing to the border, trying to cross into neighboring Pakistan. NBC's Molly Hunter is there.
The first international flight taking off from the Taliban-run Kabul airport, Americans on board a U.S.-facilitated evacuation plane to Doha, Qatar. The first since U.S. troops left, and a far cry from the chaotic runway scenes 2 weeks ago. The State Department said they invited more than 30 American citizens and permanent residents, but not everyone took up the offer. There will be more flights, but the NSC says due to an ongoing terror threat, no details in advance. On board, 113 people, and alongside Americans, Canadians, Brits, Ukrainians, and Germans. NBC's Raf Sanchez was there.
This is it. After a perilous journey that started in Kabul through an airport controlled by the Taliban, these passengers are coming down the steps here in Doha, finally to safety and security.
But for those so desperate in the last 2 weeks, over land has been the only way out. We headed up Pakistan's Khyber Pass to the Torkham border crossing with Afghanistan. This new Taliban guard we spoke with says Pakistan isn't letting all these people through.
There are people waiting who can't get over?
Please, no talking.
Okay, so the Pakistani military is having us move back.
But sisters Mursal and Manisha made it.
If you had stayed under Taliban rule, what would that have been like?
The big problem was that the girls was not allowed to go to school. There was not educational place for them.
They're headed to Ottawa, soon to be Canada's newest refugees.
And that was NBC's Molly Hunter. The time is now 7:13. Still to come on 18 News Today, a day of service on this Sunday. How Elmira College students are working to make their community around them a little cleaner and a little greener.
But first, I'll have your travel forecast dealing what to expect in some of the most popular travel destinations. More details coming up after the break. Good morning and happy Sunday. Conditions will be mostly fine for this afternoon, but thunderstorms with possible damaging winds are very likely tonight. These thunderstorms will become stray Monday morning. Hot and humid conditions will happen this week with the highs reaching into the 80s, something we haven't seen in a while, and a chance of storms will also continue later this week as well. Looking at this satellite and radar, you can see this cold front is now just swooping through the Great Lakes and will eventually swoop down south into Elmira later this evening, bringing the potential for moderate to heavy showers and isolated thunderstorms, which can be seen just north of New York State right now. But as of right now, we can see a few isolated showers popping up. The rainfall around these areas are going to dissipate quickly throughout the rest of the morning, leaving behind some suns and clouds for the rest of the afternoon. But as we head into Sunday night, we'll start to see more isolated showers, eventually turning into scattered showers later for Sunday and into Monday morning. These scattered showers will go through the twin tiers, especially the southern tiers mostly for Monday morning. But as we head into the rest of Monday morning and into Monday afternoon, we'll only start to see some isolated showers, as can be seen just west of Elmira and north of Corning. As we head into the rest of Monday afternoon, we'll start to see just some potential for sun and clouds, and some more isolated showers may occur. But as we head into Monday night into Tuesday morning, these showers will become a bit more severe, ranging from moderate to heavy, but nothing as severe as we will see later tonight. Temperatures right now are sitting around in the high 50s, and some temperatures are even up in the 60s, especially out in Hornell, which is at 66. Temperatures, however, this afternoon will reach highs of 80s across much of the regions. As you can see here, these are temperatures that we have not seen in a while, so fall weather is not exactly here yet, but it will be here eventually. Dew points are also on the rise. We can see dew points reaching into the 60s in some areas, and other areas are just still in the low 50s, so still quite comfortable, but that will not last forever. Dew points will rise as we head into the rest of the week. High temperature for today, as I mentioned, low 80s, 82 degrees for this afternoon. Winds will pick up a bit, ranging from 5 to 15 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation, 40%. Broken clouds and thunderstorms will occur later today. And as they occur later today, the chances of precipitation will rise up to 60%. With scattered showers and possible thunderstorms and a low of 64 tonight. That will eventually lead into stray thunderstorms for Monday afternoon, nothing as severe as we will see later tonight. But with the cold front passing by and with these thunderstorms, the high temperature will lower back down to 75. That will not last forever. As we head into the rest of the week, though, temperatures will climb back up to the 80s, bringing in warm and humid conditions starting Tuesday, and another potential cold front may pass by for Wednesday with scattered showers and thunderstorms. Moving into
All right, thanks, Jacob. Elmira College students are heading out into their community today, hoping to make a difference. Between noon and 3, first-year students will participate in their first service day, volunteering at Eldridge Park. Students will be cleaning, landscaping, painting, organizing, and much more. It's part of their required 5 hours of community engagement for their graduation. The Soaring Eagles Golf Course today will host a tournament to benefit the food bank of the Southern Tier. It's all part of a month-long effort to combat hunger here in the Twin Tiers. Every dollar that gets donated for the benefit at Soaring Eagles Golf Course will result in 3 meals at the food bank. Their goal, of course, is to raise $5,000 that will ultimately bring in, get ready, 15,000 meals to the food bank. The time now 7:20. Still to come on 18 News today. Investors are paying close attention to any reading on inflation, and the consumer price index will be a big one to watch in this coming week. Details ahead. Welcome back. Investors are paying close attention to any reading on inflation these days, and the Consumer Price Index will be a big one to watch in the coming week. The latest snapshot of the economy comes just a week before the Federal Reserve's September meeting, where officials are expected to discuss plans to taper down their bond buying program. Market professionals say a hotter inflation read could speed up the Fed's plans to slow that $120 billion a month bond purchases that are related to the pandemic. Unemployment claims hit a new pandemic era low. According to the Labor Department, first-time filings for weekly jobless claims fell by 35,000 to 310,000 last week. That was better than expected. Those numbers come as employers around the country are posting a record number of job openings. The Labor Department says there were nearly 11 million jobs available at the end of July. That is up nearly 750,000 from the month before. And from iPhone reveals to Broadway reopening, NBC's Dominic Chu takes a look at this past week in the world of business.
Lucky 13 for Apple, Amazon's hiring spree, and Broadway is back, all in the week ahead. Apple is expected to introduce the iPhone 13 at a product event on Tuesday. It's anticipated that Apple will offer 4 new iPhone models with improved battery life and upgraded cameras, along with other new features. The virtual event will be viewable on Apple's website. Starting this coming week, the New York Stock Exchange will require full COVID-19 vaccination for anyone wanting to access its trading floor. However, exemptions are being granted for medical or religious reasons. The exchange already has a vaccination requirement for any visitors. If you're looking for a job at Amazon, now is your chance. The company is holding a hiring event on Tuesday, hoping to fill 55,000 jobs. The event is focused largely on the Amazon Web Services cloud computing operation, along with positions in video production and advertising. Broadway theaters in New York will be allowed to reopen at full capacity starting on Tuesday. All audience members, performers, staff, and crew will need to be fully vaccinated, and masks are mandatory inside theaters except in designated eating and drinking areas. I'm Dominic Chu. Get all your business news on CNBC.
Time now, almost 7:25. Still to come on 18 News Today. Zebras on the loose. Where, how, and why one congresswoman says she did not release them.
And if you are planning on walking your dog, be sure to do it soon. Chances for rain showers may increase in the middle of the afternoon. Stay tuned for more details coming up later on 18 News.
You're watching 18 News Today.
Welcome back. We've been talking about temperatures rising into the 80s for the first time in a while. So if people are heading out today for a picnic, going out to lunch, what can they expect? Hopefully no rain, even though I know we did talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, mostly broken clouds for today, but that will not last forever. A cold front moves in for Sunday with a chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. This front stalls near for Monday, so make sure to hold on tight as humid conditions will ensue for this week, and a potential scattered showers and thunderstorms appear for Wednesday as another cold front pushes by.
All right, thanks, Jacob. Well, listen to this. 6 zebras have been spotted on the run in a Maryland neighborhood. According to Animal Control, the zebras are legally owned and apparently escaped from a farm. And in an odd twist on Friday, Congresswoman Eleanor Norton denied responsibility for setting those animals loose. Now, it's not clear who, if anyone, allegedly accused her of letting them loose. The zebras have been correlated into a field where Animal Control set up a feeding station so officers can try to recapture the animals. Imagine looking outside your backyard and seeing that. It's now 7:28. Still to come on 18 News at 7:30. Another COVID milestone. The United States officially surpassing over 41 million cases after a dramatic increase in infections this summer.
The federal government has the right to implement workplace standards.
Plus, some celebrating President Biden's new plan of attack for the COVID pandemic, but others, they are calling it an overreach. How these new mandates will be hitting the Twin Tiers.
Now on 18 News.
Good morning. Another COVID milestone. The United States officially surpassing over 41 million cases after a dramatic increase in infections this summer.
The federal government has the right to implement workplace standards.
And some celebrating President Biden's new plan of attack for the COVID pandemic, but others are calling it an overreach. How these new mandates will be hitting the Twin Tiers. Plus, a terrifying scene in Bradford County, a rollover crash trapping a teen under a water tanker. We have details on that rescue next. This is 18 News Today.
Live from your local news leader, this is 18 News Today.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sarah Wilson. Today is Sunday, September 12th.
And I'm Jacob Matthews. Thanks for joining us for 18 News Today.
Those stories and much more are coming up in just a few minutes, but first, Jacob has your forecast.
Yeah, so not much happening right now, not much fog like we experienced yesterday morning. Temperature in Elmira is currently sitting at 58 degrees under some calm winds. A few isolated showers happening around in the northern tiers around here, but those isolated showers will eventually dissipate as the rainfall dissipates soon later this morning. Current temperatures are sitting in the high 50s, especially in the low 60s for some areas. Hornell is up in the mid 60s over there, warming up right away. And speaking of warming up, we'll start to see that for the afternoon. Temperatures will reach into the 80s for the first time in a while this afternoon, with a few showers possible at 2 p.m., but mostly broken clouds for today.
The United States officially crossed the 41 million COVID-19 case milestone. It happened late last night, according to an NBC News tally. After a slow and steady decline in the spring, cases have started to increase during the summer. 16 states and territories have seen a 25% increase in the number of cases in the last 2 weeks compared to the 2 weeks before. So far, there have been more than 662,000 COVID-related deaths in the United States. This comes as President Biden announces a sweeping new COVID policy. He's directing OSHA to mandate vaccinations or weekly testing for those who have not gotten their shot. Employees at businesses with more than 100 workers will be impacted, and now lawyers and officials are reacting. Our 18 News reporter Tara Lynch breaks everything down for us.
Yesterday, when he said that he's frustrated with 80 million Americans. I don't know how anybody could be frustrated with 80 million Americans.
Less than a week after Labor Day, a new labor mandate announced by the president, soliciting backlash from Republicans.
He tried to talk about unity, but everything he talked about was dividing us.
100 million Americans could be affected in the public and private sector, but on what grounds can the president mandate testing or vaccines?
The federal government has the right to implement workplace standards and tell states or employers that they have to follow this.
OSHA was established in 1971 to provide safe work environments for employees. In order for the mandate to hold, officials must prove there is a grave danger, and this action will mitigate the threat. Biden's proposal has a vaccine opt-out, once-a-week testing, something Ostrov says could be key.
The alternative of testing is definitely going to protect any such regulation. If you do have a disability that precludes you from taking the vaccine, well, how is it possible that that disability precludes you from testing it? But I have not heard religious objections to testing.
At first glance, it seems OSHA can make such announcement, but Republicans still feel ambushed.
That's up to the business. But what should not happen is people should not be bullied.
Healthcare workers in New York have less than 3 weeks to get vaccinated or lose their job. According to the CEO of Guthrie Clinic, 1/5 of their staff is currently not fully vaccinated and will be facing termination come the end of this month. The healthcare industry is already experiencing staff shortages, but the CEO of Guthrie Clinic says this should not deter people from accessing healthcare if they need it.
We haven't had one of these swearing-in ceremonies for almost 2 years due to COVID. So we were a little backed up with the number of people that we had to get through today, but all went well. In Corning, the public wholeheartedly supports our police and our fire departments.
The deadline for healthcare workers to get their first dose is coming up. They have until September 27th. And if you're looking for a job in the healthcare field, Bethany Village will be hosting a career fair at their facilities in Horseheads this week. All positions are available, both nursing and non-nursing. The fair will run from 1 to 4 p.m. this Wednesday, the 15th. More information, of course, on this upcoming event can be found on our website, mytwintiers.com. This is a story we've been following for you. It was a race against the clock in Bradford County on Friday. A tanker flipped and into a water-filled ditch, trapping its driver and teenage passenger inside. The rescue taking place on Old Plank Road in Towanda Township. According to officials, the road was recently paved, leaving crevices which caused the water tanker to veer off the road and flip upside down into a ditch. The driver was uninjured, but the 18-year-old passenger's legs were stuck underwater, leaving him trapped. Crews had to quickly lift the truck into the air in order to free him. He was airlifted to a local hospital. Still, his condition right now is unknown. The time now 7:38, still ahead on 18 News Today. Going green, Governor Kathy Hochul taking aggressive action, aiming for all new passenger cars and trucks sold in the state to be zero emissions by 2035.
And today is mostly a great day to go out for a jog, but an increase in humidity and chance for rain later may put a damper on that. More details coming up on 18 News.
You're watching 18 News Today.
Welcome back. Republicans in Pennsylvania's state Senate are moving forward with what they're calling a forensic investigation into last year's presidential election. They're now scheduling a Senate committee meeting for this Wednesday to vote on subpoenas. This move is similar to what Republicans did in Arizona, citing false claims that the election was rigged against former President Donald Trump. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is aiming for all new passenger cars and trucks sold in the state to be zero emissions by 2035. She signed that legislation late last week, saying that New York is implementing one of the nation's most aggressive plans to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. She also directed the Department of Environmental Conservation to release proposed regulation that would also reduce air pollution for trucks. Meanwhile, the New York State Independent Redistricting Commission will soon be putting out its first drafts of its maps to redraw the state's district lines. It's a once-in-a-decade task following the census. Our Capitol correspondent Karina Capabianca has more on those next steps.
The New York State Independent Redistricting Commission has wrapped up its first round of public hearings to take suggestions on new maps for voting districts. The first drafts are expected to be released on September 15th.
Obviously, we didn't engage in discussions, dialogues. There was no debate, but it was listening, which is very important.
Chair David Imamura says almost 1,600 people signed up on the commission's website. There were about 430 written submissions and almost 300 people spoke at the hearings. While he says those hearings weren't statutorily required, Jennifer Wilson with the League of Women Voters says she's disappointed by what she calls a lack of transparency. She says there's been no public engagement on the actual mapping negotiations.
So any negotiations on the maps that have been done so far have been done behind closed doors. And in addition to that, the testimonies and the transcripts of the oral testimonies that were submitted by the public have yet to be released.
She's also criticized the lack of language accessibility for the materials. Once the map drafts are made public next week, the commission is required to hold its second round of public hearings.
There will be time for people to comment on the draft maps, but typically when drafts come out, they don't change very much.
The commission is supposed to approve a plan on or before January 1st to submit to the legislature. In Albany, Karina Capabianca.
Have you heard the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation is working to ban foam containers and packing peanuts. The ban was originally proposed last year, and several counties across the state, including the capital, have already adopted that ban. The ban is in line with New York's reducing waste measures like the ban on plastic bags, as well as the bottle bill. If this ban is passed, it would go into effect on January 1st of next year. Meanwhile, 3 of the nation's largest food delivery companies, DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats, are suing New York City over a limit on fees. Those fees were put into place during the pandemic to protect restaurants who were forced to shut down their dining rooms. The city has continued to extend those caps even as vaccinations pick up and allow more indoor dining. The companies are seeking unspecified monetary damages as well as a jury trial. It's now 7:44. Still to come on 18 News Today, your pantry will be glowing this fall thanks to One Stack. We'll explain why right after the break.
And today is a mostly good day to mow your lawn, but be sure to do it soon because the next few days may not be as favorable. More details on that coming up after the break.
Coming up on 18 Sports, Elmira Notre Dame opened up their football season, plus could Penn State improve to 2-0 on the gridiron? Find out if they could next on 18 Sports.
Good morning and happy Sunday. Conditions will be mostly fine for this afternoon, but thunderstorms with damaging winds are very likely tonight. These thunderstorms will become stray Monday morning, eventually leading to warm and humid conditions for this week. A chance of storms will also be around for this week, heading into starting Monday. This will happen as the warm and humid conditions continue for the start of the work week. As of right now, we have this cold front over in the Great Lakes, and it will eventually swoop down into our area later this evening, bringing potentially heavy rain or moderate to heavy rain and some isolated thunderstorms, as can be seen right now over just north of New York State. As of right now, we have a few isolated showers, but eventually the rainfall here is dissipating, thankfully, for this morning. Although heading into the afternoon, a few more isolated showers may occur as winds blow in more cloud cover along with the cold front. As we head into Sunday evening and into the start of Monday morning, we'll start to see more scattered showers ranging from moderate to heavy. Around in the moderate to heavy rain, we can also expect to see some isolated showers around those areas. If you plan on traveling Monday morning, be sure to be careful as those showers will cross over the regions depending on where you are. And as we head into Monday afternoon, we'll have more isolated showers as cloud cover starts to move from west to east across the Twin Tiers. As we head into Monday night, more scattered showers may occur with heading into Tuesday morning as well. But as we head into the middle of Tuesday morning, these will eventually subside over into the Atlantic along with cloud cover. As of right now, temperatures are sitting in the high 50s, especially the low to mid 60s in some areas. Hornell, already warming up to 66. Speaking of warming up, we're going to see temperatures in the highs going up to the low 80s finally after a while, and along with dew points reaching up to the low 60s as we can see right now. So not exactly comfortable as yesterday, but it's still quite comfortable. Eventually it will get a little worse as we head into the week where humidity will start to rise. Temperatures for today will reach up to 82 degrees with broken clouds mostly for today. Thunderstorms will arrive late. Chance of precipitation is 40%. As we head into tonight, however, the chance for precipitation will rise up to 60% as the thunderstorms start to move in with scattered showers. Low temperature is 64 degrees. As we head into Monday, the thunderstorms will eventually just become stray with a few isolated showers. Given the cold front and the cloud cover for tonight, we'll see temperatures lower down to 75 for Monday. Heading into the rest of the week, warm and humid conditions will continue, along with a cold front for Wednesday, which will bring more scattered showers and thunderstorms. Heading out into the rest of the week, mostly sunny conditions, although chances for thunderstorms and rain showers cannot be ruled out as the humidity continues.
Elmira Notre Dame football went 1-3 in the spring season, and since then a lot has changed. Mike Johnston Sr. returned to a head coaching spot after 41 years. Senior players have moved on, new talent has come in, and of course, just as some things are different, other things remain the same. This fall, the Crusaders will be playing for their longtime head coach Mike DeLuizio, who is battling ALS. That's a huge motivation for the team. Crusaders trying to use that motivation last night as they hosted Trumansburg. Student section ready to go there in their red, white, and blue. First quarter, T-Berg on the drive. It's Ethan Fulton with an option pitch to Aiden Alexander. He would do the rest for the score. He had a great night. Crusaders looking to respond. Owen Stort rolls out, heaves it up to Eric Bukowinski, and he takes this one all the way in for the game-tying touchdown. He was tough to stop last night as well. And out of the second quarter, Ethan Fulton will dump it off here to Bryce Grove. He'll cut across the field, and guess what? He just keeps going like the Energizer Bunny all the way to the end zone for the Blue Raiders, and it makes it 12-8 at this point. Now late in the second, it'll be T-Berg up 2 scores. The Crusaders in the red zone. Owen Stort finds Eric Bukowinski again. This will be a touchdown, and that would be just about all the offense they had left. Trumansburg would take a big second half surge to win this one 58-14. Now the Elmira Express finished their spring season with a 4-2 record and on a 3-game win streak. Yesterday they opened up their season against Binghamton. Could they keep up their winning ways? Well, we'll take you to Marty Harrigan Field, where the Express were ready to roll against in front of a packed house. Express already up 24-0 near the end of the first quarter. Patriots driving. A nice run from Latrell Jones there. That drive would stall out, though. 30 seconds to go in the half. Elmira looking for a score. They hand it to Taylon Johnson, and he's just stopped short of the goal line by the Patriot defense. Well, why not give it to him again? The Express give it to Taylon Johnson again. He sneaks in for the score behind two blockers. That would put the Express up big, and the train would keep rolling. Express win 53-8. Now to the scoreboard. The Horseheads boys soccer team played their first game in their new stadium last night. Blue Raiders hosted Athens. Horseheads won this one by a score of 2-0. Now to women's soccer. It was a home opener for the Red Barons. Corning Community College drops to 0-2 after just being edged out by Jefferson. Triple C will head to Onondaga on Tuesday looking for their first win. Now to Mansfield women's soccer. They also fell yesterday 4-0 on the road to Bloomsburg. They'll get a chance to rebound on Wednesday against Robert Wesleyan. Jumping back to college football, Syracuse playing Rutgers in their home opener. The Orange would fall in this game to the Scarlet Knights 17-7. Both quarterbacks Tommy DeVito and Garrett Schrader saw snaps, but only running back Sean Tucker found the end zone. Cuse will welcome Albany to the Carrier Dome next Saturday. Staying with college football, as Penn State looking to go 2-0 to start the season as they host Ball State. First drive of the game for Penn State, they handed to Noah Kane. He found his way around to the end zone. That's a score, and 6 minutes left in the first quarter now. Penn State looking for more. It's a QB sneak from Sean Clifford. Now this one would be talked about for a few minutes, but it would count. Nittany Lions would go up 14 late second quarter. Sean Clifford again. He's dropping it off to Jahan Dotson. He cuts inside, then he cuts back outside, and he runs it in for the touchdown. Penn State won this one 44-13. They face 25th ranked Auburn next week in prime time on ABC. To the NFL, where all three New York teams are ready to get going today. The Buffalo Bills are coming off their best season in many years. Last season, the Bills reached the AFC Championship for the first time since 1994. They'll host the Pittsburgh Steelers tomorrow at 1 p.m. on CBS. Now the New York Giants, they'll look to improve on a 6-10 record from last season. The Giants will take on the Denver Broncos at home at 4:25 on Fox. Finally, the New York Jets open up their season on the road against former quarterback Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers. That game will start at 1 p.m. Now to the racetrack, where 16-time NASCAR's most popular driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr., returned to the NASCAR Xfinity Series yesterday for a special cause. Earnhardt Jr. stepped back in the car for one race yesterday at Richmond to honor those who lost their lives on September 11, 2001. Now, Jr. drove a special 911 Unilever United for America paint scheme. Earnhardt Jr. won the first NASCAR race following the events of 9/11/2001 at Dover. And to celebrate, he drove around the track holding the American flag in his car. Now, yesterday, Noah Gregson, who drives on Dale Jr.'s team, won at Richmond and celebrated well with his team as they held up the American flag. Dale Jr. would take 14th place. Now, that's a look at sports for this morning. For 18 Sports, I'm Nick Ketter.
As the Delta variant is spreading nationwide, President Biden announced new mandates that will require millions of workers to get vaccinated, as well as other measures to combat the pandemic. While some argue these actions are too late, many Republican governors are threatening legal action, saying the mandates are federal government overreach. Meanwhile, in Capitol Hill, Democrats are struggling to get members of their Big Tent party to agree on what and how much to include in the big spending package to back President Biden's agenda. I'll talk to the man at the center of this conflict, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Plus, a look back on 9/11, 20 years later, what we've gotten right and what we've gotten wrong in responding as a nation. We'll talk to some of the leading voices from back then for that special episode. It's all ahead this Sunday on Meet the Press.
You're watching 18 News Today.
Welcome back. Finally this morning, your pantry will be glowing this fall thanks to one snack. Pringles has debuted a glow-in-the-dark can for Halloween. They'll be sold with their sour scream and onion, as well as their original chips. The cans, of course, are only available for a limited time, so make sure you keep an eye out for them when you're at the grocery store. It's a little too hot for this right now for me, maybe, because we are seeing that warmer weather. But when, if ever, hopefully soon, is it going to be more fall-like?
Well, for tomorrow, we can experience some fall-like temperatures with a high of 75 degrees, although that's not going to last forever as we head into the rest of the week. Warm and humid conditions will continue. Another cold front like this evening will occur for Wednesday, bringing in a chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms. And as for the rest of the week, those warm and humid conditions will continue, so rainfall, a rain shower and thunderstorm cannot exactly be ruled out for that time.
All right, well, hopefully it clears up soon. Thank you so much for joining us for 18 News Today.